Hi, Arun. Welcome, everyone, to today's live IELTS class. Just going to do a quick check for the audio and video. Hi, Hike. Can everybody who's joining right now see me okay, or can you especially see the board behind me? And can you hear my voice okay? Hi, JS7. Hi, Kaleem. Hi, Satvir. Okay, thanks for confirming that wandering nomad. So you can hear me all right, you can see the board okay. So we'll get rocking and rolling. My name is Adrian. I am your IELTS teacher for today. I've been specializing in IELTS for over 10 years now, both in examining, creating exams, training students, creating strategies. My major in university was psychology, and I apply that in my teaching. I'm now broadcasting to you live from beautiful Budapest, Hungary. So hopefully, wherever you are in the world, you're having a great day, and you're ready to learn. All right. So let's get going. Today, I decided to do a bit of reading practice. That's very important. This is coming from our General IELTS materials, but this reading passage is passage 3 from General IELTS, so it's very, very similar to reading passage in the academic. In fact, it's exactly the same. So as you know, academic IELTS has 3 reading passages. Each one's about 700 words. General IELTS has 5. The first 4 ones are short, and the 5th one is a long one, just like in the academic IELTS. So it doesn't matter if you're studying for General IELTS or academic IELTS. Today's reading passage will work for both. It will work for all of the academic reading parts, and of course it will work for section 3 in General IELTS reading. So today, April 19th, our materials are coming from aehelp.com. If you haven't visited our websites yet, please do that. Everybody who visits and joins is satisfied with our products. They pass the IELTS exam with good scores. They save money. They don't have to pass the IELTS a second time or try a second time. So if you're studying for academic IELTS, please visit us at aehelp.com. And if you're studying for General IELTS, please visit us at gieltshelp.com. I got a lot of your homework in the email over the past day, so many of you did a great job of finishing yesterday's task 2 writing. Good for you. Congratulations for taking that time and effort to do that. It's great. I'll probably continue to do that in future classes as well. This live IELTS class is available on our YouTube channel for about 24 hours after we're done. Now what we're doing is we're taking these live IELTS classes and we're putting them on our websites. So if you like these live IELTS classes, you can join our website, and there will be 50 of these recorded classes, as well as 40 high-definition professional recordings to go with each section of the exam. Now, if you have Super Chat in your country, it's the little $ beside your emoji in the chat. Please use that if you have an important question or would just like to donate a couple dollars because you're enjoying the class and you want to support the work that we do. If you're interested in practice Skype speaking interviews for IELTS, please send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com, and you can book a session to see how well you do in your speaking and get a score estimate so you know what you can expect on the real exam. There's, of course, editing and writing help available as well. So, without further ado, this is today's passage, all right? Thanks for asking, Vegan. My day has been excellent so far. Hi, Priyanka. Nice of you to join the class today as well. For those of you who have our General IELTS software and books, this is coming from page 63 in your second test book. If you have our academic module, don't worry about it. You'll get to see it in class here, okay? So, but if you do have our gieltshelp.com materials, then this is page 63 in test book 2, okay? Of course, on our websites, we have audio for the reading sections as well, so that you can practice your reading with a native British English speaker. Good luck Anurag, in your IELTS exam. I know many of you are doing IELTS exams this week, so I'm cheering for you. I'm in your corner. Believe in yourself. Stay confident, and I'm sure you guys will all do well, and girls will all do well. Okay, so we are now in a reading section, and we get to this beautiful reading passage. What do we do first? So what is our first step when we get to a reading passage such as this one? Anybody? What's our step number one for our reading? We're following these strategies. This is a review for some of you, but it's great practice. You have to practice these steps at home before the test. So step number one, read the title. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, read the title. Okay, very good. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to read the title. The title is The Rise and Fall of Lance Armstrong. Does anybody know who Lance Armstrong is? And of course, the picture is there to help you, and that's there to help you think and visualize. Does everybody who's watching know who Lance Armstrong is? He's quite a famous individual in the sports world. Valide close. He's not a French cyclist. He's an American cyclist. But he's definitely a cyclist, as you can guess from the picture. Vegan says, a guy who used drugs? Yeah, you're on the right track there, Vegan Jedi Jeffrey. Absolutely. Raya says, a former professional road racing cyclist. Yeah, and you're absolutely right. Lance Armstrong is an American cyclist who is potentially the most famous cyclist of all time. He has a very interesting story, of course. Now, if you don't know who he is exactly, that's okay, all right? IELTS does not expect you to know who he is. So from here, you can see that he's a cyclist from the picture, and then you see his name up here. Now, you also see this other important phrase here, the rise and fall. Can anybody guess what the rise and fall means in this title? So what does that mean, the rise and fall? So step one in reading, of course, always read the title, visualize, and predict. Now, when we predict, of course, what we're doing is we're using critical thinking. So ask what, why, how about the title. Okay, so what is he? A famous American cyclist. All right. Yeah, Indira says his failure and his success experience. Yeah, absolutely. So rise meaning up, fall meaning down. Yeah, definitely it's pertaining to his success. And then Raya says being banned for doping. Absolutely, Raya. It looks like you have a little bit of information about Lance Armstrong. So why is he famous? Anybody know why Lance Armstrong is famous? What actually made him very famous? There's a couple of different points or pieces of information about Lance Armstrong, why he became famous in the cycling world. Anybody know? His cycling skills, sure, yeah. He got first place, yeah. Anybody know which competition? He survived cancer, that's right. Very good, Amrit Paul. Yeah, he's a cancer survivor. So why is he famous? He is one of the best cyclists of all time. If I'm not mistaken, he's a 7-time Tour de France winner. And he survived cancer. Okay. Now, how? Anybody know how? I think Raya knows how he was one of the best cyclists of all time. Well, definitely he trained. So doping is not enough to be a world cyclist. You have to train very hard. He definitely used drugs, as we later discovered. And he has strong willpower. That's why he survived cancer. Okay, great. All right, so step number 3. Anybody know what step number 3 is? So let's get back to the picture here. Okay, we've read the title, we've looked at the picture, we visualized. We know that this passage is going to be about reading, about this famous cyclist, and about his success and his failure. We can visualize the world of cycling, Tour de France. ProSopha says, read some of the questions, and you're absolutely right. And JS7 says, don't skim and scan. Yeah, absolutely. Skimming and scanning is not an effective strategy to get a high score on IELTS, okay? Sometimes students say, oh, well, I use it and I get some answers right. Yeah, you can get some answers correct, but definitely it will be very difficult, if not impossible, to get a score of 7 or more with skimming and scanning. So we don't want to skim and scan the passage. That will confuse us and waste a lot of time. So step number 3 is look at some of the questions, especially, of course, specifically ones that contain information from the passage. And again, don't look at questions that have extra or false information. Okay, so let's do that. Let's have a peek at the questions. Do we have a list of headings? Nope, doesn't look like it. So let's look at the end and see what kind of questions we have. So here are the first set of questions. Answer the questions below. Choose no more than 2 words and or a number from the text for each answer. Write your answer in boxes 28 to 32. Okay, so here we have short answer questions. Should we read these? Is this a question type, these short answer questions? Is this a question type that we should be reading before the passage? You're very welcome, Lytton. Safa says, yes, you should read it, and Safa is right, and Haik is right, and Chandani is right, because these are all informations that will be contained in the passage, okay? So the first one is, in which city did Armstrong participate in the Olympic Games? In which month and year was Armstrong first diagnosed with cancer? What fashion accessory did Armstrong popularize? Who was the first person to accuse Armstrong of cheating? How many Tour de France titles is Armstrong currently credited with? Great, so we read those questions. Then we look at the next ones here. It says, complete each sentence with the correct ending A to F below. And we have 6 choices and we have 4 questions. Should I read the questions for 33 to 36? Should I read these questions? What do you girls and guys think? Is it a good idea? You're saying yes, absolutely. Raya says read only the questions, and Raya is correct because the questions are somewhere in the passage and the answers to them are somewhere in the passage. So that information is there, but definitely reading the answers is not a good idea because there's at least a couple answers that are wrong and they can really confuse you for what the actual content of the passage is. So let's ignore the answers. Let's just look at the questions. So Armstrong maintained his innocence for. Armstrong defended his actions by. Though he was a hero, Armstrong's legacy is now. Armstrong, like everyone, is. And that's it. All right, let's look at the last few questions here. 37 to 40. Choose 4 letters, A to J. Write the correct letter A to J in boxes 37 to 40 on your answer sheet. Of course, this is very important. Always pay attention to the instructions of the question. Please, please, please don't lose easy marks because you missed the instructions and you're not putting the correct letters or the correct words or a correct number of words into the spaces. All right. So, which 4 of the following accomplishments are mentioned by the author? Okay, and we have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. So we have 10 answers here, and we have to choose 4. Should we read these? Should we read these 10 different pieces of information before we read the passage? Raya says no. Safa says no. Vegan, if you capitalize all your answers, it's okay. Sakuna says no. This is a definite no. Girls and guys, this type of question is an absolute no, okay? There are more false answers here than correct answers. So from these 10, only 4 are correct. There are 6 wrong choices. If you're reading 6 pieces of false or not mentioned information in a question like this, that can become very confusing, and that can actually have a negative effect on the other questions even, because you can confuse that information with the other questions, okay? So definitely do not read this type of question. It's an absolute no, all right? Absolute no on this one. Okay, so we skip that one. Okay, so we don't read that one. We read the questions for this one, not the answers, because we had some false answers. And then, of course, for these first 5, we read all of the questions. Okay, that's great. Now, if I'm very good at English and I'm very good at IELTS, what should I be doing? So what should I do with these questions, especially for practice at home? So when I'm practicing for IELTS at home, what should I try to do with these questions before I begin to read? Yeah, very good, Mohammed. Very good, Rai. Yeah, absolutely. JS7, right answers, right on. So obviously some students who are following these lessons regularly, and that's good for you. I'm sure that it will help you succeed on your IELTS exam. So definitely at home, you want to paraphrase these questions. So you want to always practice your paraphrasing, okay? It's very important that you do daily paraphrasing practice. Is anybody practicing paraphrasing regularly each day, preparing for the IELTS? Now be honest with me. If you're doing it, I want to give you a high five, but if no, then definitely a good time to start. So is anybody practicing paraphrasing every day? JS7 says, yes, I do. JS7, you get a high five. ProSafa, you get a high five. That's awesome. Lytton, good job. Yeah, one of the fastest ways to improve your English language, your communication, even your own language, is to practice actively paraphrasing as much as you can with those different types of techniques, synonyms, antonym negatives, definitions, expressions, grammar, okay? You want to use as many of those as possible. So girls and guys who are doing that, you're fantastic. Keep it up. I guarantee you will be very good in English very quickly, and you will have great communication skills. Practicing paraphrasing is the fastest way to improve your language and is the fastest way to get a high IELTS band score. So practice at home paraphrasing the questions. Okay, in the IELTS, if you're quick and you've practiced at home, you will be able to do it in your mind. Okay, obviously in the IELTS you don't have enough time to write down paraphrasing on the paper, but you should in your mind, especially for key words, just grab them and try to paraphrase them. So let's try that with this reading passage, okay? Especially with some of the key words. So let's have a look at number 28. In which city did Armstrong participate in the Olympic Games? Okay, so this is a question. Obviously, the reading is most likely going to use a statement, not a question. So you'll see it in a statement form. Can anybody paraphrase for me the word participate? Participate would be a great word to paraphrase. Yeah, Raya, very good. Where did Armstrong take part in the Olympics? Or Armstrong took part in the Olympic Games in this city or in this place. Absolutely. Take part is a very good phrasal verb to replace participate. So Armstrong took place in the Olympic Games, okay? Great. Let's go to the next one. In which month and year was Armstrong first diagnosed with cancer? What would be a good word to paraphrase here? Anybody? What would be a good word to paraphrase in this case? Adjust the brightness a little bit so you can see it better. Anybody know another way to say diagnose? Diagnosis is obviously a medical term. Yeah, find out is a good way, yeah. Yeah, find out would be a nice paraphrase there, right? Because when you're diagnosed, then you receive the identification of what kind of illness the person has, right? So you find out, all right? Okay, what fashion accessory did Armstrong popularize? Okay, what word would be good to paraphrase in number 30? What fashion accessory did Armstrong popularize? Any words in there that would be good to paraphrase? Detect is a good one, by the way, Chandani. So, yeah, let's go with detect there as well. Or discover. Right? Be another way. Fashion accessory, absolutely. Yeah, fashion accessory is a good one. Popularize is probably another one. Yeah. Any other way to say popularize? Brand ambassador. Yeah, that might be. It's quite an interesting paraphrase, Mohammed. I'm not sure if you'd see that in the passage, but it is a good way to paraphrase that. When fashion becomes popular, what is it? Yeah, famous is okay, sure. Famous might be a good word. Try as many as you can at home. There is no real wrong answer unless it's an incorrect synonym or an incorrect paraphrase, but try as many at home. Trend, yeah, there you go. Trend is a good one. What's another way to say that? And now you know that when you're reading, you're looking for these kinds of words. So trend is one. Make it very common, absolutely. New trend. There's another word that starts with an F for fashion accessory that's popular. Starts with an F. Second letter is an A. And anybody know? Not famous. There's just one letter missing. Anybody know what the last letter of that word is? It's a 3-letter word. It's not famous. We already have famous up here, yeah. Anybody know another word for, it's not an N, it's a D, it's a fad, okay? A fad is, not fab, fad with a D. A fad is something that's popular in society. Yeah, JS7, that's right, it's a fad, F-A-D, okay? All right, so you're paraphrasing. Who was the first person to accuse Armstrong of cheating? Accuse would be a good word there. Cheating would be a good word there. We're not going to go through each one of these. I challenge you to do this at home. Again, if you do this at home, you can send me an email. I'll let you know if I think that your paraphrasing is good or bad. Just send it to my email address, but make sure you practice it at home. All right, so that's your next step. You paraphrase this as much as possible. In the IELTS, of course, you're thinking about these words in your mind as you're reading these questions. What's the next step? Anybody know what the next step is after you've done this? So after you've done the paraphrasing, what do you do next? What is step number 5? Yeah, I'm going to try to change that color for the next class there, Abdi Hodan. I only have blue and black, and those are even less visible, so I got to change it to white. But I'll do that for next class. Start reading. Yeah, Mohammed, absolutely, you're right. Start reading. So step number 5, read the passage. Okay, and read it carefully, all right? So read the passage, read it carefully, and visualize the information and use critical thinking as you're doing this. So what, why, and how. All right, so you're reading the passage. That is absolutely your next step. So we're going to do that right now. We're going to read the passage. And in order to do this, we're going to get the help from one of the websites here. This is on IELTS. So again, if you have your general IELTS website, remember you can log in at the top. And then when you log in, you will have all of the audio for the reading sections as well. So you go to your 5th tab, and then here we are going to be in, well, it tells us. So here we go. At the top, it will tell you the audio at the beginning of the listening. So it says up here, CD 5, track 9. So we're going to jump to CD 5, track 9. Is everybody ready to read and listen? "20 minutes is lots of time for those of you who are asking.
Battery 100%.
All right, so here we go. For now, don't worry about the questions, okay? Just concentrate on reading, visualizing, and thinking what, why, how. What am I hearing? Why is this? How is this? Okay? So don't worry about the questions. We'll look at the questions after.
The rise and fall of Lance Armstrong. Lance Armstrong is known for many things: cycling, philanthropy, surviving cancer, but unfortunately his most significant legacy may be his cheating. A 7-time winner of cycling's most prized race, the Tour de France, Armstrong's fall from celebrated athlete and inspirational human being to disgraced cheater is an unfortunate example of the pluses and minuses of the human spirit. Born in Texas in 1971, Lance Armstrong began cycling competitively at 13 years old. Originally a triathlete, Armstrong quit swimming and running in favour of his best discipline, cycling. Considered a favourite to win the road race at the 1992 Olympics in Barcelona, he instead finished a disappointing 14th. Soon after, he began to race professionally, and it was very soon after, in 1993, that he won his first major cycling event, the World Road Race Championship in Norway. It is unclear whether he won it cleanly or whether he was cheating even then. In 1996, Armstrong's life changed. In October of that year, he was diagnosed with testicular cancer, which had spread throughout his body, even to his brain. He was 50-50 at best to survive. Bucking the odds, Armstrong survived and made it known publicly that he would race again. While the doubters were many, Armstrong privately persevered. Less than 3 years after the diagnosis, Armstrong won the Tour de France. He was immediately lionized and treated as a hero. He became an icon and an inspiration for those struggling with cancer, because he was an example of how a person could not only overcome cancer, but thrive after doing so. Armstrong started the Livestrong Foundation in 1997 in order to improve the lives of cancer survivors and those affected by cancer. After his cycling victories, the foundation found much success, eliciting tens of millions of dollars in donations and entering a little yellow bracelet into the public consciousness. Over 80 million yellow bracelets were sold, with proceeds going directly to the foundation. The yellow bracelet became a symbol of cancer support and survival, and no matter what Armstrong's negative deeds, the money he helped to raise has done untold good in the cancer community. Armstrong would go on to win 6 more Tour de France competitions, giving him an unprecedented 7 consecutive victories. Having retired from cycling in 2005, he focused his efforts on his foundation and his family. It would not be long, however, before the storm clouds began to approach. As early as 2001, there were whispers that not all was right with Armstrong's seemingly inhuman abilities. But it was not until 2010 when Armstrong's former teammate Floyd Landis, a Tour de France champion himself and admitted cheater, accused Armstrong of cheating. The charges were investigated, and eventually more voices came forward in support of Landis's accusation. Armstrong continued to deny the allegations. In August 2012, he was stripped of all his Tour de France titles due to overwhelming evidence that he had participated in a vast blood doping conspiracy. He was a cheater. Armstrong maintained his innocence for several more months until finally admitting that he had, in fact, cheated. He cited his ruthless desire to win as the main reason for taking illegal performance-enhancing drugs. Lance Armstrong's legacy is muddy. Once an inspiration and a hero to many, he is now merely another cheater who would go to any length to win. But his philanthropic successes cannot be taken away from him, and it would be unfair to dismiss all of his accomplishments because of his mistakes. Armstrong is a flawed person who is trying to do his best. Like all of us, he is human.
Okay, so hopefully you were able to follow along with that. Now, for those of you who think 20 minutes is not enough time for one of these reading passages, how long do you think that reading passage was? So how long do you think that reader took to read that passage? That was a very natural speed for a native English speaker. Zafa says probably about 5 minutes. Okay, let's have a look. That was exactly 4 minutes and 3 seconds. So that took 4 minutes and 3 seconds, okay? So basically, you can read half that slow, okay? So when you're doing the actual IELTS, it's okay to read half that speed, and you should still have enough time to read the whole passage and answer all of the questions, okay? So half of that speed is okay, 50% of that speed. All right, so for those of you who are worried, you should know that you don't need to read that fast. All right, so when you're practicing IELTS at home, this is just another kind of a strategy for you to practice at home. Even before you look at the questions, test your critical reading or test your active reading, okay? So we're going to do that right now, and this is something new. I haven't really done this with students who are watching these lessons in the past. Where you test your active reading. And you do that by asking yourself questions and answering them. Okay. Many students complain that they understand the passage, they just don't remember what they read. Okay? And this is an exercise that will help you to be more efficient at reading the passage and actually remembering what you read. Okay, that's what this is important for. And one of the ways to do this, of course, is visualize. So let's ask some questions. Okay, does somebody want to put up their own question here? So I'll give you a chance to ask a question. And you should try to go systematically. So you should try to go with the flow of the passage. Okay? So don't just ask random questions. Try to go with the flow of the passage. The reason, Prabesh, is because it's paraphrased. So Prabesh is asking, if I read the passage but I can't find the answer, why is that? Because you're actually looking for paraphrasing, okay? That's exactly why I was mentioning it's so important to practice paraphrasing questions. Yes, Sakuna, absolutely you should read the whole passage in order to do well, okay? All right. So what was the first city where he won the first prize? Sure. Okay, anybody remember where he first won? Barcelona? Is everybody sure about that? Okay, Maria says Norway. I seem to remember Barcelona was where he did not win. I remember Norway. So again, we'll check. We'll go through the passage again. Don't worry about it. Here's a question that's early in the passage. When did he start cycling? Okay, can anybody answer that? So when did Lance Armstrong first start cycling? Very good. I cannot read those Chinese characters, but at age 13. Absolutely. Okay, here's another question. What did he do before? Anybody remember what sports did he do before he started cycling? Yep, swimming was one. Anybody remember the other one? Swimming and running, that's right. Okay, those are a few early questions for me. Keep going, girls and guys. Ask some questions. Let's see how well you can remember the information from the passage without looking at questions or without looking at the passage. So give me some more questions that you can generate for each other. Okay, this is great practice for you for your active reading. And if you're studying IELTS together with partners, this is one exercise that you can do together. So if you're in an IELTS class, or if you have a friend who's also taking the IELTS with you, then this is one kind of a fun strategy where you can test each other to see how good your active listening and visualization skills and critical reading skills are. So one of you asks a question, the other answers. The other one asks a question, the other answers. And then count the points. See how many one of you gets correct, see how many the other gets correct. See who's better at active reading. Sure, so how many titles did he win? That was a little bit later. Okay. Another question there was, which year was he diagnosed? Yeah. Sure. Okay. We'll answer these. So we'll get back to these. So Indira says 7. There was one wrong answer there. Which year was he diagnosed? It wasn't 2005. I don't think it was 1996 either. I think it was 1998 was my answer, but maybe I could be wrong. A lot of you are answering 1996. I believe it was actually 1998. Okay. All right. What type of cancer? Anybody remember what type of cancer it was? Testicular cancer, yeah. Okay, and where else did the cancer spread? Where did it metastasize? Can anybody answer that? Where did the cancer metastasize? Let's see how good you really are. Where did the cancer spread? Yeah, to his brain. Okay, great. So you want to do this, okay? You want to keep going with the same question. So keep asking follow-up questions, okay? Follow-up questions are very important when you're studying, okay? That definitely will improve your skills when you ask lots of follow-up questions. Can anybody ask another question about the cancer? So staying with the cancer topic, can anybody ask another one? So what type of cancer? It was testicular cancer. Where did it spread? To his brain. Okay, and now Chandra, you're jumping to another one, but let's stick to the cancer question still. There was a lot more information about that in the passage. So before we go about who accused him of cheating, how did he cheat, and all of those kinds of things, let's stay with the cancer topic. Let's keep following up on this. Don't jump around in your questions. Grab one, stay with it, ask follow-up questions, okay? So where did the cancer spread? To his brain. Ask another one. How did he overcome the cancer? Sure, that's an okay question. Did he survive? Obviously, yeah. Okay, here, let me ask you one then. What were his odds for survival? Okay, what were his odds for survival? Anybody catch that one? What did the doctors say? What are his chances? JS7 says 50-50. Yeah, that's right. Okay, let me ask another one. So keep staying with the same topic, okay? Don't jump around with topics. Okay, yeah, 50-50, Lit and Harvinder, great. A little bit of lag, but yeah, absolutely. You guys are coming in great. Yeah, very good, Maria. So which foundation or what foundation did he start as a result of his cancer? And that's one of the biggest cancer foundations still today in the world, so it's a good piece of factual information to know. That's right, Raya. Very good. It was the Live Strong Foundation. Okay, now let's go down that rabbit hole. Okay, so this is what you want to do is you want to keep following the rabbit hole. You want to train your linear thinking. You want to train your critical thinking. So can somebody ask me a question about the foundation or ask each other a question about the foundation? So before we go on to him winning more titles and his cheating and all of that, can somebody ask some more details, some more follow-up questions about the foundation? Yeah, what did the foundation sell? Sure. Sell to raise money, right? And of course, now you'll realize you're answering one of the questions in the answers, right? So what item did the foundation sell to raise money? Yeah, a yellow bracelet, Maria Jabbar. Very good. Okay, now of course we can get into how many. How many? Anybody remember those numbers? Maybe some of you are some mathematicians out there, some good brains for numbers. Anybody remember how many they sold? It was definitely millions, so that's a good start. Millions of these bracelets. Tens of millions, right. Absolutely, 80 million. Very good. Somebody's remembering the number, 80 million. Awesome. Okay, so you get the idea. So this is what you want to do. And of course, now we could go on and we could ask more questions about him being caught as a cheater. Why did he cheat? What kind of cheating did he do? Who accused him of cheating? What happened as a result of cheating? So these are all great questions that you can generate and ask from yourself when you're studying for IELTS at home. Or again, you can do this with partners, okay, in a classroom with other IELTS students. You can do it on our website. So on our websites, you can find other students, and you can actually practice this on our websites as well. All right, so this is definitely what you want to do. So keep going, keep doing this. Remember again that for this kind of a strategy or this kind of a practice at home, what you're doing is you're improving your active reading, you're training your brain to focus in on the information, on the details, to follow a linear type of thinking. Remember, ask follow-up questions. So don't jump around one topic to another topic, but stay with one and ask follow-up questions. What, when, where, why, who, okay? Floyd Landis accused him of cheating. Absolutely, JS7. I'm not going to list all those questions I just said. I'll leave that for you to do at home. Right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and read the passage with you again, nice and slowly, and then we'll answer the questions, okay? So ideally in IELTS, you want to be able to answer about 60% of the questions without looking at the passage. So when you've trained your brain for good active reading, then you should be able to answer 60-70% of the questions correctly without having to read the passage again. Okay? So this is an important skill. Okay? So oftentimes, students have difficulty on IELTS not because of their English skills, and even native speaking students will have difficulty, but simply because they haven't trained themselves to do this kind of exam and to be able to follow information in this way. So when you train yourself for good active reading, you should be able to answer 60 to 70% of questions correctly without having to read and search the passage. And you should be able to do it with confidence. So where basically you're not just going, oh, I think I read that. Did I read that? Maybe I read that. Geez, I'm not too sure about that one. So you shouldn't be doing it that way. You should be saying, okay, that was 80 million bracelets sold. I'm 100% sure that's the answer. Boom. I'm not going to go search for that. I'm not wasting time for that, okay? So when you train yourself to do good active reading, you should be able to do 60 to 70% of questions correctly without having to search. And then you will definitely say that skimming and scanning is a waste of time and nobody should do it. All right. So let's have a peek now at the passage again. We'll go through it together, and then we'll answer as many of the questions as we can without actually having to search for the information. So here we go. The Rise and Fall of Lance Armstrong. Read with me. Read aloud. Don't be shy. So as I'm reading, I'm going to read it a little bit slower than the audio. So read it nice and loud. Read with me. Don't be shy. Use your voice. Allow your ears to hear yourself read, okay? Read aloud. Aloud reading is very important. Do it often. Do it daily. So here we go. Everybody ready? Yes, JS7's ready to go. Sakuna's ready. Litton's all fired up. We are ready to start this Tour de France of IELTS reading. All right, so the rise and fall of Lance Armstrong. Lance Armstrong is known for many things: cycling, philanthropy, surviving cancer, but unfortunately his most significant legacy may be his cheating. A 7-time winner of cycling's most prized race, the Tour de France, Armstrong's fall from celebrated athlete and inspirational human being to disgraced cheater is an unfortunate example of the pluses and minuses of the human spirit. Born in Texas in 1971, Lance Armstrong began cycling competitively at 13 years old. Originally a triathlete, Armstrong quit swimming and running in favor of his best discipline, cycling. Considered a favorite to win the road race at the 1992 Olympics in Barcelona, he instead finished a disappointing 14th. Soon after, he began to race professionally, and it was very soon after, in 1993, that he won his first major cycling event, the World Road Race Championships in Norway. It is unclear whether he won it cleanly or whether he was cheating even then. In 1996, Armstrong's life changed. In October of that year, he was diagnosed with testicular cancer, which had spread throughout his body, even to his brain. He was 50-50 at best to survive. Bucking the odds, Armstrong survived and made it known publicly that he would race again. While the doubters were many, Armstrong privately persevered. Less than 3 years after the diagnosis, Armstrong won the Tour de France. He was immediately lionized and treated as a hero. He became an icon and an inspiration for those struggling with cancer, because he was an example of how a person could not only overcome cancer, but thrive after doing so. Armstrong started the Livestrong Foundation in 1997 in order to improve the lives of cancer survivors and those affected by cancer. After his cycling victories, the foundation found much success, eliciting tens of millions of dollars in donations and entering a little yellow bracelet into the public consciousness. Over 80 million yellow bracelets were sold, with proceeds going directly to the foundation. The yellow bracelet became a symbol of cancer support and survival. And no matter what Armstrong's negative deeds, the money he helped to raise has done untold good in the cancer community. Armstrong would go on to win 6 more Tour de France competitions, giving him an unprecedented 7 consecutive victories. Having retired from cycling in 2005, he focused his efforts on his foundation and his family. It would not be long, however, before the storm clouds began to approach. As early as 2001, there were whispers that not all was right with Armstrong's seemingly inhuman abilities. But it was not until 2010 when Armstrong's former teammate Floyd Landis, a Tour de France champion himself and admitted cheater, accused Armstrong of cheating. The charges were investigated, and eventually more voices came forward in support of Landis's accusation. Armstrong continued to deny the allegations. In August 2012, he was stripped of all his Tour de France titles due to overwhelming evidence that he had participated in a vast blood doping conspiracy. He was a cheater. Armstrong maintained his innocence for several more months until finally admitting that he had, in fact, cheated. He cited his ruthless desire to win as the main reason for taking illegal performance-enhancing drugs. Lance Armstrong's legacy is muddy. Once an inspiration and a hero to many, he is now merely another cheater who would go to any lengths to win. But his philanthropic success cannot be taken away from him, and it would be unfair to dismiss all of his accomplishments because of his mistakes. Armstrong is a flawed person who was trying to do his best. Like all of us, he is human. All right, so let's answer these questions. In which city did Armstrong participate in the Olympic Games? Anybody? What's the answer there? JS7 says Barcelona. Absolutely. So, that's too big. Let's go with the smaller one. Barcelona. Make sure you can spell it correctly. If not, then check the text, okay? So Barcelona is the correct answer. It has to be a big B, okay? If you write a small b, even if you spell it correctly, a small b will be a wrong answer. So you can use all capital letters, Barcelona, or you can use it with a big B and then the rest all small letters. If you don't know how to spell it, just check, okay? In which month and year was Armstrong first diagnosed with cancer? Anybody? Anybody know which month and year? Hi, Rekha. October 1996. Now remember that October is a proper noun in English. Let me try a black board marker here for you. Maybe you can see that a little bit better. Would be the correct answer, yeah. So October of 1996. The easiest way to write that is just write oct like that and then 1996. Okay, so oct 1996. All right, that's going to be the best way and the easiest way to make sure that you get the correct answer. Okay, so oct 1996, and this one is Barcelona. Okay, all right. Don't write small o. Okay, Kulvinder, be careful and with the small o. Harvinder, be careful with the small o. You'll get it wrong. Okay. What fashion accessory did Armstrong popularize? Okay. Now remember, the question is asking for no more than 2 words and or a number. Okay. So the answer has to be. That's right, yellow bracelet, okay? And yellow and bracelet are not proper nouns, so you can write those with small letters. Again, the best or guarantee for you to get them correctly is write it all capital, but yellow bracelet. Okay, is the correct answer. So yellow bracelet. Who was the first person to accuse Armstrong of cheating? Anybody? That's right, Floyd Landis. Okay, now if you don't know how to spell the name, then it's okay to check, of course, the passage, so don't lose a mark. Names are really easy to search for because they're such unique words and you'll always see them capitalized. And if you're using critical reading, you'll know that that was somewhere near the end when they're talking about cheating, and I can see it right there, Floyd Landis. So don't misspell something that's so easy to find, okay? Make sure you're using a big F and a big L, otherwise you will get it wrong, okay? Names are proper nouns, so it has to be with a capital F and a capital L. Okay, how many Tour de France titles is Armstrong currently credited with? How many Tour de France titles is Armstrong currently credited with? Clever, clever, JS7. Clever, clever. This is where you have to use thinking. Okay, IELTS is not just testing your reading ability, it's testing your thinking. So for those of you who caught on, this is an important word here. Currently, it means right now. He is credited with 0. Why? He's credited with 0. Why is he credited with 0 titles? So he won 7. He used to have 7 titles. And Priyanka's right, 7 zeros or 10 zeros, because he was stripped. He was stripped of all of them. So they were all taken away, and they were given, obviously, to the second place winners, okay? So the second place winners. So the correct answer is 0. So on IELTS, you have to be careful. It's not just about giving quick answers without using your brain. IELTS is a brain test, okay? IELTS is testing your brain as well as your language ability. That's the biggest mistake many students make, is they think that it's enough just to speak English for IELTS. It's not. You have to use correct thinking. All right, so those are the right answers. I'm quite confident for those questions. Let's have a look at the next ones. Let's see how many we can answer without having to look at the passage, now that we use some good active reading practice before looking at the question. So question 33 to 36, which write the correct letter A to F in boxes 33 to 36 on your answer sheet. Complete each sentence with the correct ending. Armstrong maintained his innocence for. Okay, so Armstrong maintained his innocence for. Does anybody know the answer without even searching? We know it was years, right? According to the article, it was years. Not just many months, but years. It was years, and even after there was a lot of evidence that he was cheating, he still kept saying, no, I wasn't, for months and months. So it was years and then months and months. So E looks like the right answer, a long time, though he eventually admitted his guilt. This is the only one that is clear, okay? E. So E is the right answer there. All right, 34. Armstrong defended his actions by. So he defended his actions. So what did Armstrong? So don't look at the questions. This is like multiple choice, okay? This is a type of multiple choice. So what did Armstrong say in defense of his actions? Does anybody remember what the reading passage actually said? Why he did it? Why did he do it? Mohammed, you're right. Yeah, desire to win, right? He wanted to win. Okay, with this type of question where you have to finish the sentences, the correct strategy is think about the answer on your own first. So this is just like multiple choice, okay? So think about the answer on your own and then find the one that matches. This is a type of multiple choice question, okay? Keep that in mind, girls and guys. Don't look for the answer before you use your own brain. And I'll make a note of that, okay? So This is a strategy. Okay, so finish sentence endings. Find the correct ending is similar to multiple choice. The first step, number one, is think of the correct answer on your own. Then find the answer that matches. Okay? Otherwise, it's easy to make a mistake because you're looking for the best answer, and there could be more than one. All right? So Armstrong defended his actions by F seems to be the right one, claiming he had an innate desire to win. Yeah, so he really wanted to win, right? So F there. All right. Though he was once a hero, Armstrong's legacy is now what? So again, think of the answer on your own. So you're saying D, but now it's muddy, right? The article said it's muddied, it's dirty, it's no longer the same. So though he was a hero, it's unclear since he was a cheater, but he did a lot of good. Yeah, D makes a lot of sense, of course, because of his efforts in the cancer community, right? Okay, 36. Armstrong, like everyone else, is... Anybody? What is Armstrong like everyone else is? This is at the very end. Human. That's right, JS7. So again, answer on your own. And humans are not perfect and make mistakes. Absolutely. All right, so those are the right answers. We will look at the answer key in a minute here. Of course, the answer keys are included in your books near the end, so we'll look at those. Let's look at the last few questions. So this is going to be probably the most difficult of all the questions because you have a choice of 10 and you only choose 4. So write the correct letter A to J in boxes 37 to 40 on your answer sheet. The writer mentions a number of Lance Armstrong's accomplishments. Which 4 of the following accomplishments are mentioned by the author? A, he won the Norwegian Cycling Championship. B, he won 6 Tour de France titles. He became an inspiration for those trying to overcome cancer. His foundation earned tens of millions of dollars in donations. He was stripped of all of his cycling titles for cheating. He began cycling competitively at 13. He won the World Road Race Championships. His legacy is muddy. He won many races, including the 1992 Olympic road race. He won, for a time, 7 Tour de France titles. Okay, so which are the correct ones? And again, you should be able to think about these answers without having to read all of these. Okay, so did he win the Norwegian Cycling Championships? No. Okay, that wasn't the Norwegian. It was in Norway, but it wasn't the Norwegian cycling. It was the World Tour. He won for a time 6 titles? No, he didn't. He became an inspiration for those trying to overcome cancer. Yep, I would definitely say that C is one of the correct answers. His foundation earned tens of millions of dollars in donations. Yep, I would definitely say that's true as well. Sold all of those bracelets, right? He was stripped of all of his cycling titles for cheating. That is not an accomplishment, okay? That's absolutely not an accomplishment. He began cycling competitively at 13 years old. That is true, but it does not seem to be an accomplishment. Remember, the key word here is accomplishments or achievements, right? So pay attention to that question. It's not what does the author mention. It says which accomplishments does the author mention, okay? He won the World Road Race Championships. Yes, I remember that was one of them. That's what he won in Norway, right? Okay, his legacy is muddy. Definitely not an accomplishment. He won many races, including the 1992 Olympic road race. He did not win that race. We remember that that was in Barcelona. He came in 14th. He won, for a time, 7 Tour de France titles. That was definitely mentioned. Although he was stripped of those titles, he definitely won those. So the correct answers are C, D, G, and J. Okay? That's the correct answers, I believe. And it can be any order. Okay? So you can put those in any order into your answer sheet. The order does not matter. Just make sure you only give one letter per block. Okay? So you can have C for 37, you can have G for 38, you can have J for 39, and you can have D for 40. Doesn't matter, okay? So C, D, G, J. Make sure that in this type of question, you really pay attention to the statement, especially when you have a word, accomplishment. Don't rush, okay? Don't rush the answers. All right, let's have a look at the answer key and just double check all of these. Again, girls and guys, for those of you studying academic IELTS, please join us at aehelp.com. You have 6 of these beautiful practice exams with lots of strategies and videos to guide you. All of these live lessons can be found there. There are going to be 50 of them up there. There's about 20-something right now, and we're putting the other 30 on in the next 24 hours. So let's have a look at the answer key here. Here we go. The answer key is found on page 161. All right. So, 28, Barcelona. Correct. 29, October 1996. 30, Yellow Bracelet, Floyd Landis. 0, E, F, D, C. I believe those were correct. C, D, G, and J in any order. So we got all those questions right. Good job. Great job, active reading. Notice, by the way, that we didn't have to look at the text even once, okay? So we were able to get those answers without having to go back to the reading passage. When you learn to read actively and you train your brain for this kind of reading, 20 minutes is lots of time to get most of the answers correct, okay? And you will be much less stressed, and when you get to the writing section, after you do this in the reading, you will be much more organized in your brain. You will be less mentally fatigued and tired, so you'll do a much better job in your writing as well, okay? So it's very dangerous to use bad strategies in the reading like skimming and scanning, because they will tire out your brain, you'll run out of time, you'll be disappointed, you'll be confused, and that will have a negative effect on your writing score also, all right? So definitely use the right type of strategies. Train your brain for active reading. Practice with a partner. Practice by yourself at home, okay? Ask and answer questions from the reading passages for yourself, okay? See how well you can do. And then you will get a nice high IELTS band score, all right? That is our reading lesson and my tips for you today, and strategies and steps to follow. Hopefully you still have some time to practice these before your IELTS exam. I know that many of you are doing IELTS exams this week. So anybody have any questions? I'll give you a couple of minutes to ask me some questions about the reading section or about IELTS, and I'll do my best to answer them for you. Again, visit us at gieltshelp.com for general IELTS, aehelp.com for academic IELTS. We have lots of great materials and help for you there. Okay, some questions. Chandani says, sir, are we giving intervals before writing, speaking, and... Okay, so Chandani, the speaking is often on a different day or at least a few hours before the rest of your IELTS exam. After the listening, so at the end of the listening, you have 10 minutes to answer to transfer your answers to your answer sheet. So you have 10 minutes at the end of the listening. There's kind of a couple minutes there where you'll be able to relax your brain. The reading and the writing, not so much. So reading and writing, it's one after the next. Okay, reading you get 1 hour, and then right away it's the writing you get 1 hour. So that's basically 2 hours straight. Thank you, Colette. I appreciate your positive feedback. Hike, what is CELPIP? I have no idea what CELPIP is, Hike. You'll have to ask someone else. Dollar, send me an email. If you can't log into your AE Help account, just send me an email. I'll help you out, okay? So send us an email, adrian@aehelp.com or info@aehelp.com, admin@aehelp.com. So if you're having trouble, Abdi Hodan, if you checked our website, I'm not sure if you checked General IELTS or Academic. I'll show you where it is, okay? I'll show you where those live videos are. So we're just loading them up on the General IELTS website today, but you'll already see more than 20 on the Academic. So I'll show you where you can find them, okay, for those of you. Now, you do have to be a full course user, okay? So you won't see them in the demo course. But in the full course, when you go to the videos, then you'll see all the HD videos by section. So you'll see the reading section videos, listening section videos, and then at the very end, after the speaking videos, you see the live class recordings, okay, right there. And there's 21 videos that are available now, and we're putting another 30 on there, okay? Eunice, should we read whole the text if half of the questions are matching headings? Yes, absolutely. You definitely need to read the full text, Eunice, in every single case. If you want to get a score over 7, you do have to read the full text, or even 6.5, okay? CELPIP, yeah, okay, right. CELPIP is a Canadian language test for immigration. Yeah, it's a different one that's specific to Canada. I do know what you're asking about now, and thank you, Raya, for that clarification. Yeah. Karen, if you want to book a speaking interview through Skype with me for the IELTS, just send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com, and then I can tell you what to do to book that. You can also book it through your My Student account, okay? The next lesson, Dollar, will be about speaking. It will be tomorrow, the same time, which is 14:30 Central European time. That's Budapest time, so 16:30 o'clock, and we will be doing speaking. Yes, Mohammed, you will have these live class recordings available on IELTS Help. We're just putting them up online. It's a huge video load, so it takes us about 24, 48 hours to do it, but you will start to see them after today on IELTS Help as well. Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, we're putting these on the General IELTS website as well. Safa, that's a very good question. If you don't see the answer or you can't find it in the passage, but you have an idea of what the answer is, yes, absolutely. If your answer is a synonym for the answer in the passage, then, like, for example, if let's say that the answer is drink, and you can't find the word drink, so you put the word beverage as your answer, IELTS will take the word beverage. So if it's a perfectly matched synonym, beverage, drink, they will take either one, even if the passage doesn't say beverage. Okay? All right. Yes, Aisha, we do offer live speaking practice with native English speakers on our website. You just have to log on, and you can book a lesson through the free version of the site or the paid version of the site. Okay, girls and guys, looks like everybody's kind of had enough, and your brains are filled with wonderful and useful information. So I'm going to say goodbye for now. Again, another class tomorrow. It will be speaking. We'll start off with part 1 at 16:30 o'clock Central European Budapest time. So check your time zone, see when it's on for wherever you are in the world. And I wish all of you the best of luck in your studies this week. I know a lot of you are doing IELTS exams this week, so stay confident, believe in yourself. We believe in you. Visit us on our websites. You'll find lots of help there. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and if it's late in your country, then sweet dreams, and see you tomorrow. Bye for now.